Hey guys, welcome to my top 10 most fun to play characters in all of Marvel Strike Force. Now these are characters that maybe have experienced some power creep and maybe have fallen off the list for power, but are still a ton of fun to use because of the mechanics that they use in the game are still very gratifying to use. Coming in at number 10, we have Captain Marvel. Now, nothing feels better than coming out first and deleting a squishy character off the battlefield that's a glass cannon and can hurt you, like Loki. Oftentimes, you can start before Loki does, delete him right off the field before he even gets to go, and it feels pretty awesome to be 5-on-4 before the other team even gets to start. She also heals and does a lot of other cool things with her kit, and she's still one of the more fun players to use in all of Marvel Strike Force. Coming in at number 9 is Hela. Now, Hela's death knives are still one of the coolest mechanics in the game. When you have someone across from you that is loaded up with debuffs and you just take them and spread them all over the field to everyone else, that gives you a pretty big advantage. And the mechanic and seeing all those red dots all over the screen is still really cool. Greg is also an awesome sidekick, so to speak, and she is still one of the coolest characters in the game when you're not fighting symbiotes in war. Number 8, we have Symbiote SpiderMan. Now, one of my favorite things about Symbiote SpiderMan is actually the mechanics of how he moves in the game. His basic is awesome because it puts defense down on 1 to 3 characters depending on spacing. And he is an absolute powerhouse and probably even deserves a legendary tag even though he's not legendary. His web slam is pretty awesome too. When you get that off, it spreads slow across the whole battlefield. And he's just really neat. Pair him with all the symbiotes and then he ramps up even higher. Symbiote Spider-Man just looks really cool, and his mechanics are a lot of fun in the game. Very deserving of the number 8 spot. Number 7 is Carnage. Now, you probably ask why Carnage over Symbiote Spider-Man, they're on the same team, but there's something about when you get that mechanic running, when you get people into the red, and then he speeds up himself and all the symbiotes and gets to go again. He can become a very big nuisance if you have a lot of minions on the field or squishy characters because he will get things ramped up and his mechanics look really neat. Carnage is the train, the engine that makes the train of the symbiotes run. That speed up mechanic is just awesome. And arguably, coolness factor is just, man, Carnage is still a badass, in my opinion. So, Carnage claims the number 7 spot. At number 6, we have Phoenix. There's just something about Phoenix when she summons Dark Phoenix that if you're on the other side from her, you think, buckle up. She's about to drop the hammer on us. She becomes a big priority right away, and there's just something about that little pause that happens right before she rains down her ultimate on everybody and potentially wipes the whole battlefield. She is still one of the coolest characters in the game visually, and she's a ton of fun to play. She's experienced some power creep, but she is still mechanically one of the most fun characters in the game to play. Coming in at number 5, we have Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is probably not going to feel any power creep for quite some time, making him very deserving of the number 5 spot. Mr. Sinister can clone any character across from him, making him have some of the best longevity that you're going to see from any Marvel Strike Force character. And there's just something gratifying about cloning the best character on the other side and then recruiting them on your side and then having more players than they do. Mr. Sinister has some really cool mechanics, and his gene therapy is also pretty fun when you spread all the buffs to everyone. He can become a very big nuisance when you have ISO 5 healer on him as well, and keeping everybody up and alive. There's a lot to do with Mr. Sinister that can be annoying, and mechanically he's still one of the most fun characters to play in all of Marvel Strike Force. Coming in at number 4 is one of the new guys, Longshot. Longshot is one of my favorite characters in all of X-Men. Probably like top 2. He's right up there with Nightcrawler, Wolverine, some of the coolest characters that have ever graced the X-Men team. Now, he comes in and he plays on X Factor, and when he's paired up with Shatterstar, they're a force to be reckoned with. The thing is, by himself, his ultimate knife assault hits harder than Black Bolt on some occasions. He has a dynamic where his AoE is something to be reckoned with. He puts barrier up, heals, he does it all. When he's paired up with Shatterstar, though, he ramps up to another level. And when all of X Factor is out, I believe that this is going to be the new meta arena team. Longshot is a ton of fun to play, though, giving him a very deserving spot at number 4. And I look forward to seeing what this team is going to be when they're completely fleshed out. Number 3 is Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo is an absolute destroyer of worlds in RTA. If you see Baron Zemo across from you in RTA, you just kind of internally sigh and say, let's just get this over with, because Baron Zemo is an absolute unit. If you have him built up, he's a lot to reckon with, and he's part of a lot of new theory crafting war teams that are used on both offense and defense. He can go on either side of the playing field, and he creates a ton of problems because of how fast he is. His passive, where he destroys minions and hurts everyone on the other side, is pretty awesome as well, but coming out and ability blocking someone right off Jump Street and then doing high damage to everyone on the other side is a lot to handle. And it almost feels like when you see Baron Zemo on the other side, aside from the fact that he is very squishy, that there's an unfair advantage when someone has Baron Zemo. Very deserving of the number 3 spot, and I'm interested in seeing, as more characters come out, the more theory crafting where this guy can be slotted in and to come up with even more meta teams. Coming in at number 2 is Black Bolt. Black Bolt is still an absolute devastator in any game mode. The only caveat is he's a bit slow, but once he gets rolling, he's an absolute monster. Still one of the most amazing offensive forces in the game. And there's something about when you take somebody into the red on the other side and you realize you don't have Black Bolt on your team and they're still standing and you have to go in and finish them off. Black Bolt is awesome. One of the best feelings in the game is when you AoE the other side, everybody goes in the red, and then Black Bolt burps them all off the field one by one, and you finish them all off. One of the most gratifying things in all of Marvel Strike Force. And then when he rises up, spreads his hands out, hovers in front of everyone, and hits them, especially when he's got offense up and they have defense down, and he just wipes out the battlefield. Black Bolt is still an absolute unit. Coming in at number 1 is Ultron. Ultron is still mechanically the most fun character in all of Marvel Strike Force to play for me. Because, man, once those bots start landing on the field and you start becoming overwhelmed, and then meanwhile Black Bolt is wrecking you for... I've hit for over 460,000 damage with him before. He's just mechanically super, super fun to play. The bots are awesome. Purge system, when it hits somebody that has defense up and defense down and you have offense up, oof, man, he's still, even with power creep, he's still someone that you have to recognize is on the field and try to get him off there before he gets too many bots on the field and you get overwhelmed. Still mechanically, to me, one of the most cool characters in all of the game. And you never know, maybe someday we're going to get red stars on him and he'll become even better. And he'll become... if there was red stars in this game, he would be the best character in all of Marvel Strike Force. In the meantime, though, he's still a ton of fun to play and very deserving, in my opinion, of the #1 spot. So that's it. That's our top 10. Please leave a comment down below if you believe some other characters deserve an honorable mention or deserve to be on this list instead. We'd love to hear what you guys say, and we're going to have more top 10 videos in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. Check you later.